Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. Today, I'd like to talk about Xue Dian and introduce his branch of Xingyi, including the sub-style of Xiang Xing Shu. I have been practicing and teaching Xingyi, including Xue Dian's branch, for more than 3 decades now. Based on my personal experience, I believe that Xue Dian's practice is the jewel in the crown of Xingyi. Due to political reasons, some of which I will talk about in today's video, Xue Dian himself and his practice have not been very well known in China and the West. Only about 15 years ago, a novel based on Xue Dian's story became popular in the martial art community in China. Since then, his name and his practice started to gain popularity. In this video, I will cover the following topics. First, who was Xue Dian? Second, his contribution, including his Xingyi and Xiang Xing Shu. 3. Issues of a common Xingyi practice. 4. Unique features of Xue Dian's Xingyi. 5. Demonstration. And 6. Takeaways from his success story. First, who was Xue Dian? Xue Dian, originally from Xingyi in Hebei province, moved to Tianjin for work. In Tianjin, he studied Xingyi with Li Chunyi, one of the best Xingyi masters around the end of 18th century. To know Xue Dian's biography, we have to talk about some historical background of martial art organizations of Tianjin dating back the early 19th century. In 1909, Li Chunyi, along with some of his colleagues, created the Association of Military Men in Tianjin to promote martial art. The reason behind the term military man was that most of the key members of that association were military soldiers and commanders of the late Qing dynasty government. In 1911, Li Chunyi, along with Zhang Zhaodong and other key members of the Association of Military Men, they created a new association named Chinese Martial Art Association. The main style taught in these two associations was Xingyi. Many people believe that Xue Dian studied Xingyi at those two associations. Some senior members of the Tianjin martial art community told me that Xue Dian was one of the best students of Li Chunyi. In 1912, the first government-sponsored martial art association was created in Tianjin. It was Chinese Martial Art Association of Tianjin. Feng Guozhang, the former president of the Republic of China, was the honorary director. Again, Li Chunyi was the director of that association. After Li Chunyi passed away, Xue Dian became the director of that association. To improve his practice, he also studied with Li Zhenbang, the grandson of Li Luoneng, the founder of Xingyi. During this period, he not only modified the typical Hebei style, especially the body movements, but also create Xiang Xing Shu. I will talk about this later in this video. Around 1929, he established the Tianjin National Art School, or Tianjin Guoshu School. The reason why he used the term national art instead of martial art as their school's name was that Li Chunyi once said, "Only Xingyi is the national art, and all the rest are martial art." Along with other masters, he taught thousands of students in Tianjin. But then, why isn't he so well known today? To answer this question, we have to introduce Yi Guan Dao, which can be translated to a consistent way in English. Yiguan Dao is a Chinese Salvationist religious sect established in the late 19th century in Shandong province. Then, around 1930, this religious sect spread rapidly throughout China, especially in Tianjin and Shanxi. They said that Xue Dian became a leader of this sect around the mid of 1930s. When the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, rose to power in China in 1949, many Yiguan Dao members fled to Taiwan even though it was not legalized until the 1980s in Taiwan. But Xue Dian decided to stay in Tianjin. After 1951, the political situation of China became more and more serious. Soon, CCP started executing Yiguan Dao members, many of them in Tianjin. I have a photo shot by myself. This is the place where the police executed Yiguan Dao members back in 1952. Around the same time, Xue Dian disappeared. Here, I intentionally use the word disappeared because Xue Dian was not executed by the Tianjin Police Bureau. To research the issue, I visited the Tianjin Academy of Social Science. Over there, I got the list of Yiguan Dao members and could not find his name in it. It's also said that he was taken away by the Shanxi Police Bureau around 1952 because he was a leader of Yiguan Dao in Shanxi province. So, no matter what, he never came back home to Tianjin after the police took him away. This is why I say around this time a Xingyi legend disappeared. Due to the political environment back then, people distanced themselves from him and his family, fearing serious political consequences. For example, when I was a child, many elder masters taught his practice without mentioning his name, or they just said this is Xue Dian's practice and avoided any details about his background. I experienced this myself. Even though I was curious to know the reason back then, I waited until I was old enough to research this topic by myself. Topic 2. His contribution. In the martial art community, including myself, Xue Dian is, even today, considered a genius. His two main contributions to Xingyi are his own unique variation of Xingyi and Xiang Xing Shu. Let's talk about these two topics. Xue Dian first studied Xingyi with Li Cunyi in Tianjin in his 20s. As a result, his early Xingyi practice had Li Cunyi's influence, which can be considered the early stage of Hebei style. Later, he studied with Li Zhenbang, the grandson of Li Luoneng, whose Xingyi was strongly influenced by the original Li Luoneng style. As a result, we can say that Xue Dian's Xingyi maintained the advantages of Hebei style and also included elements of the original Li Luoneng style. This unique combination can be seen through the body movements or shenfa in his Xingyi. When he published his first Xingyi book around 1929, the former president of the Republic of China, Cao Kun, wrote a prologue for his book. I used to have a copy of this book, but not anymore since I lent it to a friend of mine, but he never returned it. Today, I only have a reprinted edition. This is the book. Along with his Xingyi, he also developed his own unique practice called Xiang Xing Shu. Around 1932, he published another book titled Xiang Xing Shu to promote his practice. From then on, his style became popular in Tianjin. Now, let's talk about Xiang Xing Shu. In his Xiang Xing Shu book, Xue Dian said he studied from a monk in a mountain. As I have mentioned before that Chinese people prefer to give credit to others, I have done a lot of research about the source of his Xiang Xing Shu practice. Based on my own research, he created his style based on his knowledge prior to his Xingyi practice, plus some other styles including Xingyi. To make a long story short, he was the one who integrated other styles and eventually create Xiang Xing Shu as the new branch of Xue Dian Xingyi. This is the book. I got this book from a student of mine from Taiwan. His name is Wu Quanhuang. When he lived and practiced with me in Montreal, and this is a very nice copy. In 1933, he published yet another book, Pressure Point. In my opinion, this book is more of a TCM book for treating injuries. I interviewed some elders in Tianjin back when I was in my 20s. Some of them knew Xue Dian's family very well. Xue Dian's wife in Tianjin told one of them that Xue Dian spent most of his time writing books before he disappeared. And many of those manuscripts had never been published, including his work on Taoist practice. I cannot verify this part of history since nobody ever found those manuscripts. Also, all of those people I interviewed are no longer alive. Topic 3. Issues of a common Xingyi practice. It's my firm belief that there's no perfect style. If there are advantages to a style, there are often some issues as well. So, what are the issues in conventional Xingyi practice? Based on personal teaching experience and observation over 30 years, I have realized that most practitioners will need a lot of effort to gain flexibility through practicing Xingyi. I'm not saying that your body will become stiff after you practice Xingyi. What I'm trying to say is that very often it will take much more effort to become flexible in body movement when practicing Xingyi. Knowing this, one should pay attention and focus more on those practices that can make the body movements more flexible and dynamic. If you still don't see what I mean, please watch some Xingyi demonstrations on the internet. You will see that many people have stiff upper bodies during demonstration. It's a common problem caused by this style. In contrast, Xue Dian practice focuses on this issue in the very early stage itself. There are specific movements and body structures practice to help practitioners achieve flexibility through practice. Especially Xiang Xing Shu can take this further. Some Xiang Xing Shu's movements, especially the dragon form, can help practitioners overcome this potential flexibility issue caused by the conventional Xingyi. I will talk more about this in future videos. Topic 4. Unique features of Xue Dian Xingyi. 1. always maintain a combat structure in practice. 实战架 in Mandarin. The term combat structure here means that the upper body leans forward. This is the traditional way of Kungfu practice that Xue Dian Xingyi preserves. In conventional Xingyi, we always say that the upper body should be straight. But the upper body being straight means that the lower back should slightly extended outward and not curve inward. This is the straight upper body as intended in Xingyi. It doesn't mean that the upper body should be exactly vertical as in modern wushu practice. Traditional Hebei branches, including those of Li Cunyi and Zhang Zhaodong, also intended the structure to be this way. But Xue Dian stressed on it more than the others. As a result, this feature has become unique to Xue Dian Xingyi, but was a common practice a century ago. To help my students understand and practice this structure better, I said body leans forward, energy rises upward, or 形邪神正. Now, let me show you what I mean. Okay, now let me demonstrate the leaning motion in Xingyi practice according to Xue Dian branch. Okay. So, very often people just keep this kind of structure. That's not the traditional way of Xingyi stance. But it's not like this either. That's wrong. So we move like this. Energy raises up. Body leans forward. Yes. Or like this angle. It's have this kind of rotation. Second point, emphasize the diagonal coordination in the body. For example, the front palm coordinates with the opposite hip. As a result, the upper body turns more than the other branches. In Xingyi, we call it dragon falls the body, or 龙折身 in Mandarin. The objective is to have a more powerful fajin or force release. If you can apply this concept to your practice, you will have a whole new experience. Please give a try and let me know what you think. This used to be considered a hidden topic before, but I want to teach this in the public. I hope this addition will enhance your own Xingyi practice. 3. Focus on single movement for fajin training. I always teach my students this kind of practice, as I believe this to be a very important part of traditional Xingyi training. Unfortunately, this practice has been neglected by many people in the community, especially in China. I have introduced a lot of single exercise to the Xingyi community in China in order to help the development of this style. With time, many people realized that what I had been promoting was in fact beneficial to Xingyi practice. Unfortunately, those exercises were not written in Xue Dian's book. Now, let me demonstrate a single exercise. Okay, now I'd like to share a single exercise with you. This practice is the single exercise in Xue Dian style of Xingyi for throat training and body conditional training. So you can keep your feet apart at the shoulders width or even 1/2 shoulders width. Then repeat chest open, then close. Open, then close. Open, then close. After you practice this for times, then put force and strength and speed. So now become then you can repeat this exercise as many as you want. 4. Xiang Xing Shu, a style created by Xue Dian. Xiang Xing Shu can be considered as the further development of Xingyi. More importantly, it can be used to correct a lot of common mistakes caused by conventional Xingyi. This system consists of 5 methods, 8 animals, routines, and a lot of single exercises based on variations of its 5 methods. Xiang Xing Shu mostly used open palms instead of fists, as in conventional Xingyi. Also, cross-stepping and overextended stepping are special features found in Xiang Xing Shu as compared to conventional Xingyi. This method can greatly improve the stepping practice in terms of speed, flexibility, and martial application. 5. Xue Dian's practice greatly emphasizes the opening and closing movement of the chest and the rotation of the hips, unlike conventional Xingyi. Such movements can make a lot easier for practitioners to enhance their fajin or force release practice. In the interest of time, I have only introduced a few features of Xue Dian's Xingyi. Of course, there are many more features which I will talk about in future. Topic 5. Demonstration. Slowly. Okay, now please allow me demonstrate one of the Xiang Xing Shu stance or dragon stance. In Xiang Xing Shu practice, a lot of stance are not static practice. Very often it's the dynamic slow motion movement. You can practice it slowly or repeat it as many times as you want, but be careful. Keep the body height even, maintain the same level, practice naturally in a relaxed manner. And Topic 6. Takeaways from his success story. First, continuous improvement. Based on the information that I have heard about him, Xue Dian never stopped improving himself. As one of the best students of Li Cunyi, he had achieved a high level of practice already, but he still continued working on his practice and developed his unique variation of Xingyi along with Xiang Xing Shu. Second point, wide range of study. Many people in the Chinese martial art community know that Xue Dian was one of the best Xingyi masters in history. However, most people don't know that in order to achieve that level, he not only practiced Kungfu, but also studied and practiced Taoism and internal meditation, among other practices. A century ago, it was not very common for martial artists to practice both martial art and meditation. And that's true even today. However, as per his own written works and the stories I heard from others, Xue Dian practiced and mastered both. So, in my opinion, his wide range of study and practice helped him become a top master. Before I end this video, I also want to point out that due to historical and political reasons, Xue Dian's style has not been well known or widely taught in the community. When he disappeared, his son was only 2 years old. That was no way for his own son to study from him. Also, his style was mostly limited to Tianjin in the past. I was very lucky to have had the opportunity to learn this style from a few teachers that in turn learned directly from him. That is why I considered it my duty to promote this style. I have been teaching this style along with other branches of Xingyi for a total of over 3 decades now. Especially after I moved to Canada, I realized that Xue Dian's style can be of particular benefit to those non-Chinese students as compared to other branches. For example, Western students focus a lot on muscular strength in the upper body. So I reorganized my teaching materials and started to systematically teach this style early on to Xingyi students. I hope this video helps to spread awareness of Xue Dian, his contribution to Xingyi, and that they get the recognition they rightfully deserve. Thank you for watching. See you next time and happy practicing.